everyone. Happy Wednesday. We're happy to have you here with us once again. Today we are talking with our very own people about some tips on things that you can be doing when social prospecting. It is a hard time to be doing that right now, Tracey Anderson. You are here with us today, and it's just, you're sitting at home. There's a lot of work to be done, but I think it's very difficult for people. Everyone has now settled into this COVID thing, and it's becoming a little more normal than it was a couple of weeks ago. So in some ways, it kind of feels a bit awkward to be reaching out and saying, like, just checking in on you. I guess it's never the wrong time for that, but you have some ideas for us about other ways to be doing some prospecting right now.
I sure do, Lee, and you're absolutely right. It's time for us to be creative, and so I'm just going to jump in and share my screen here. Give me a thumbs up if that looks good. Everybody's okay with that? Amazing. Yeah, so we have talked many times over the last few weeks about what we as realtors can be doing behind the scenes during this time, this kind of slow down time. And we've talked about communicating with our clients. We've talked about communicating in our communities, how to be good community citizens at this time. But we don't want to neglect this part of our business as well, because you know what? The world is going to function again at some point, maybe not soon, but it is an opportune time for us to be making sure that all facets of our business practice is up and running, is as fine-tuned as it can be, and fun. So let's get started. We're going to talk a little bit about what we can do during this time to keep your business running, your referral business running. So it is a time, as we've talked about many times in the last few sessions about in the Relentless training, it's time for us to pivot. It is time for us to recognize that we are not going to be doing business as normal anytime soon, and we are not going to be doing business as normal when we all come out of this. And that, my friends, is an opportunity. That's opportunity knocking for you, because now in this time of, let's say, slowdown or quietness, we have a time to really think about, be cognizant about what we want our business practice to look like going forward, and how we want to create that, not have something forced upon us by you know, the global pandemic that's going on to us. We're going to take this opportunity to really redefine who we are. So you're always going to want and need referrals in your practice. Absolutely. It's a lifeblood of what we do. Now is the time to really think about sourcing out new referral partners. What can you do? Who can you contact? What is appropriate at this time? We're going to talk about how you can communicate effectively to those new sources and to your your old sources. And we're going to add value together, as we are stronger when we are working together. Okay, let's carry on. So this is a time, as I said earlier, for us to get prepared. Opportunity is knocking, my friends. Let us make sure that we are taking advantage of that. So your referral business is going to be even more important as you go forward. Why? Well, it's going to be more important to you because those standard prospecting, door knocking, phone calling, all of the back to basic type prospecting endeavors are either going to be very slow to come back, or they never will come back again. So it behooves us to be creative and to seek out other avenues for us to do. So one of the steps that you can take is to review your current referral networks. And the whole topic today is about referrals. So if I don't say that word every single sentence, I hope you understand that. And maybe somebody should count how many times I say referral or network in this entire presentation, and we'll give you a thumbs up at the end. You can have bragging rights for figuring out how many times Tracey says referral. So review your current network. So personally, in my business practice, I have 4 referral sources. I have my SOI. These are people that have done business with me. These are people who are on my prospecting list for either listings or buyers coming up. That's my SOI. They are an absolute boon of places for referral sources. I also have, of course, friends and family. I depend on them to pass the word that I'm in business and I'm a great realtor, and you would too. You know, I'm going to do this whole presentation in the first person. I'm sorry, friends, because that's just easier for me. The third referral source that I have is, of course, my wonderful referral network through Century 21, inside and outside of the brand, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more as we go forward. And also the fourth section is my affiliate referral network, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So these are the four avenues that I choose, the four buckets, let's say, of referral sources that I have had in my practice in the past and will be attacking as I go forward. Okay, so often research is the next step that you should be doing to get prepared. COVID is going to change everything, the way we do things, the way we've done things, how we do things going forward, but history is going to repeat itself. There have been a number of studies that have been promoted recently that show that markets, whether it's real estate or stock market, rebound and are stronger after industry changing situations such as we find ourselves in right now. So you need to understand and believe in your heart that this is not going to go on forever. This is a temporary time, and we need to use this time to prepare and get ready. So try to imagine in your mind, what is your practice going to look like after COVID has waned and we are back to business as kind of normal? And then do some research on that. We're going to talk about that a little bit more as we go through the presentation. It's time to educate yourself and get connected online. I know that before I started at Century 21, before I started at head office, I considered myself to be, kind of medium to low in the tech savvy department. And since, of course, I've been working at corporate head office, my skill level has greatly improved because I needed to get better at a lot of things in order to continue to do my job. This is your time, my friends. This is your time to get comfortable with doing things video, things technological. This is your time to learn and practice. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, about getting connected online in other ways, not just in social media, although we are going to talk about that in a little bit as well. We're going to talk a little bit about relocation companies. We're going to talk about how they can serve you and how they are going to be a valuable resource now and going forward, because there are still corporate relocations that are happening right now, people that have to move. So we're going to talk about that as a resource. And then last but not least, we're going to cover that affiliate referral business. And if you don't understand what I mean by affiliate, let me just say what I mean to say about that is companies that you would normally do business with. And there's kind of two sections. And again, we'll go into that a little bit later in the presentation. We're going to talk about what kind of affiliates we have in each bucket. So there can be businesses that are cooperative with real estate, and there can be other businesses that are more community-based, but we'll go through that. All right, let's move on. What I'd like you to do is review your referral network that you have already. See where it's strong, see if there are any weak points. We're going to talk about your C21 referral network. Of course, you have the availability to look at c21.ca and the Facebook page. Get involved with the referral guide as well. Get yourself signed up with relocation companies. Then also we're going to talk a little bit about independent companies in your community and just outside your community, and also in communities across the country. Here's what I'm talking about doing your research, okay? This is an opportune time when things are a little bit quieter and you're not busy running around doing your business. You're actually able to work on your business, not in your business, okay? Figure out who is moving to your community. Who is moving to your community? Well, I know that in Winnipeg, there is a very large military base here. So some people who move to Winnipeg are military oriented. And I was very fortunate to build my practice based on having a large referral network within the military community. But it could also be RCMP moves. There's corporate moves as well. Find out who is moving to your community and for what reason. I had a really great conversation with an agent from Alberta just recently. And of course, people are moving to and from their community because of the oil fields. It's really important that although they're struggling, having a hard time in Alberta right now because of the downfall of the oil industry, it is still an opportunity for you to serve your community with those in your community who are wanting to buy or sell homes. Once you've figured out who is moving to your community or away from your community, and I'm talking mostly about cities, are they moving, or do you have a huge retirement community that moves to a certain area of the city or just outside the city? You need to pinpoint what's happening in the movement department. Are people mostly moving to your community and not moving away? Are people moving outside of your community and not moving in? These are important details you should have together when you're making a plan. And then when people are moving away from your community, where are they going to? As I said earlier, are they going to a retirement community just outside your borders, or are they moving across the country? Figure out where they are going to. Also have an inkling of what C21 and other brands serve those communities. Now, it is always my preference and always has been in my 20 plus years of working in the Century 21 system to send any referral that I have going to a Century 21 agent. That will always, always, always be my first choice. But what about communities that don't have a Century 21 office, that are likely to have been a community where I might refer, say, a military client or something like that? There are a few communities that don't have a Century 21 agent or office there. So I would research who has a good reputation in that community, no matter what brand they're from. Even if it's a small brand or an independent brand, I'd be happy to reach out to them and say, hey, you know, if I've got somebody coming your way, let's talk about your value proposition. Let's see if we can work together. And then I would also connect with agents just outside my service area. So as an example, this is the perfect example for this. There is a community that's just outside of Winnipeg called Portage-La Prairie. It's about 45 minutes from our perimeter road to get to Portage. Now, I am licensed to buy or sell in that community, work with buyers or work with sellers in that community. But I am the first to admit to you that I am no expert on all the ins and outs of that community that's just 45 minutes away from my office. So what I did was I developed a relationship with a very strong brokerage there and a very strong agent there who I could happily send business to and who would in turn send business to me. So this is what I'm talking about. It does not have to be across country. If you've got maybe somebody's moving in from cottage country, they're giving up their cottage and moving into the city, or vice versa, you need to be able to connect with agents in those areas as well. There's a great resource. You can go to StatsCan and you can search through all of the interesting statistical forms and surveys that they have made. It's really, if you're a techie and you want to get in there and dig around, you can get all kinds of information about who's moving where, how much money they make, how much immigration do you have to your province or to your city, and it helps you gives you a good grounding in what's happening nationally. Now, this data is a couple of years old because that's how often that they do the surveys, but it will give you a good, baseline, a good ground zero for you to be able to understand where people are moving from and to, what kind of demographics they are, what kind of geographics they are moving to. It's going to give you some really great information. Of course, we have the C21 referral directory as well. And also, why don't you have a look at who is in the Independent Real Estate Brokers Association through your board. You'll be able to then know who the independent brokers are, who serve the small communities around your service area that may not be Century 21. this is an opportune time. This is part of the social aspect of this, to join some referral groups online. I did a quick search just on Facebook. I belong to a number of groups of agent referral groups that are in my city and in my province, and across the country. But it's such an easy opportunity for you to get in there right now and learn what's happening in other people's community, other agents' community. What are they doing? It's a valuable resource for you to check out what's working for them and what you might be able to bring back to your practice and create, like internalize it, create it in a specialized, customized way just for yourself. Once you have figured out who's moving where, as far as the client is concerned, and you've connected with agents in either just outside your local community or in areas across the country where you think you will get moves from or to, it's super important that you build your virtual value proposition. Now, you've had this before. You've had to do this before if you've been doing referrals across the country in years past. But now more than ever, it's important that you build a virtual value proposition. It's now even easier to have communication with clients in different communities and get actually face-to-face with them through Zoom or Google Hangouts or even FaceTime. You will be able to have conversations with them face-to-face. And you need that, of course, to build that trust relationship between you and them before they move to your community. So as part of your virtual value proposition, you need to be able to give your listing or buyer presentations online. You need to do a little practice with that. You may remember that when I first started doing these webinars, a 3 years ago, I really struggled with it. But now, after doing hundreds of them, I'm much more forgiving of any mistakes that I might make, and I'm much more confident and comfortable with the technology. And you will too be. That is not a problem. You just need a little bit of practice. So I suggest you grab your buyers or your listing presentation, whichever you feel most comfortable with, and then practice doing an online presentation to one of your coworkers, one of your colleagues at the office, and then do one in reverse so that you get comfortable sharing your screen, you get comfortable advancing the slides, answering questions, and keeping that eye contact that you need, and that is so valuable when you're actually sitting down in front of a buyer or a seller. Be really comfortable with virtual tours of listings, of neighborhoods, of local hotspots. You can do a virtual tour of a neighborhood right now more easily than any other time because nobody is out. Because of social distancing, you can do a drive-by of the schools in your local area, create a little library of videos that you are going to make a YouTube playlist so that you have that available should you create an opportunity for yourself to have a referral connection in another community. Use social to stay in touch with your referral network. Absolutely. This is the most opportune time where people are reaching out to each other. Agents are a special kind of personality that they're full of energy one day and then maybe they're a little hesitant the next day. So, reach out to your to your referral network and make sure that you touch base with them and let them know that you're there for them. Building that trust relationship with your referral network is just as important as building that trust relationship with your clientele. And then, of course, have a directory on hand of local professionals, schools, restaurants, community centers, activities that are in your community. Have that all available and organize it in your Google Drive so that when you have the opportunity to send information out or share information with a potential client, you have that at your fingertips. Now's the time to build that. You could also share that on your website as well, just to prove that you are a resource for real estate in your community. And then plan your follow-up with your referral agents, which will allow them to shine to their clients. there's nothing wrong with making some conference calls or Zoom seminars with your referring agent in your other community, as well as with the client at the same time. You two can be on the screen together, both presenting to the client, and so that you have this hand-in-hand opportunity to build that trust relationship even higher. You're not going there, that agent in the referring community is not going to be handing off his client to you. You're going to be able to work hand-in-hand with that referring agent to make sure that the client feels well loved and well taken care of. So build yourself a virtual value proposition, store it either in a YouTube playlist or in your Google Drive, and just have it all prepared so that when you do get a referral, you will be able to send that out immediately. You're ready, you're good to go, and you feel comfortable with making a presentation online. As well, that when you're talking to that referral agent in another community, you can then say, hey, listen, friend, I have this, and this ready to go for anyone that you want to send to me. And you know that you are going to shine more than your competition. Okay, let's talk a little bit about relocation companies. I did a little research on this, and I know that there are more than what you see on the screen here, but these are the two that are most prevalent. And I encourage you to do some research in your local community to see if you can get on their relocations list or on their approved list. There's no harm or foul. You may or may not get a referral out of it, but at least you're putting your name forward. So you need to know that Cardis is one of the largest relocation companies for corporate relocations in the world, and all C21 offices are already registered with Cardis. So you don't have to do anything other than I think it's really important that you do a little research on Cardis and figure out what it is that they would require of you in order to be able to offer your services to their clientele. And military and RCMP relocations, here is the name here, Brookfield's Relocation Services, BGRS, and there's the website and the phone number to call for that. They have a very strict guideline for working with both buyers and sellers, but it's not something that you can't handle. So super easy to get signed up for it, and then your name is on the list, and if a military client is being relocated, then they have the opportunity to work with you. They're discouraged. Military and RCMP are discouraged with working with anybody who's not on the list. So you may as well just, get your name on the list. That'll help you out. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about affiliate referral sources. As I said to you a little bit in the beginning of this session, there's kind of two buckets to this source here. There is the cooperative real estate businesses, professionals. So I'm talking about lawyers, mortgage brokers, home inspectors, if you have like notaries, if that's what your provinces use in that anything that works with the real estate transaction. Kind of a sub bucket to that are things like painters, plumbers, electricians, contractors, that sort of thing. Those are all real estate related. You can make those contacts right now because you know what, they're hurting for business too. And if you have the opportunity to at least bolster their confidence and say, let's see what we can do to work together, then that's a terrific opportunity for you to get some new business, and keep in touch with them regularly, because these are the people out there in the community who may be hearing about somebody who's having to buy or sell in this current situation. The other bucket to look at is, again, not necessarily related to real estate, but also a very valuable opportunity for you, is your community resources. Are there seniors groups? Are there new Canadian groups that you can tap into, offer your services to provide, maybe get some special information, get some special knowledge about working with new Canadians, and offer to do a virtual home buyer seminar for new Canadians. Get one of your mortgage brokers to work in conjunction with you, and then be able to host a webinar where you'll be providing some information for new Canadians. Yes, I get it that they're not going to jump in and buy a house from you tomorrow, but this is, you're building the foundation for building the house for when things come back, and they're going to, you are going to have this source available to you. Because bear in mind as well that when things come back to being normal, it's not going to be the normal that we were used to. You need to have all your irons in the fire. So make sure that you have as many, irons out there as you can possibly have. So again, that second bucket of affiliate referral sources would be things in your community. As I said, seniors group, First Canadians group, church groups, if that's you belong to a church group, try to explore those options. What about local restaurants? What about local, community centers, and etc. Make sure that you have an opportunity to reach out to all of them. Maybe start your own social group where you can meet with your affiliate sources. Why not start a Facebook group where you meet with all your Century 21 Facebook, with all your non-Century 21 referral sources, for your family, friends and family, and your SOI. Why not start a different group, a different social group for your affiliate resources? You need to be able to think outside the box, because you are leaders in your community. People look to us to be the resource in real estate. This is going to be an opportunity for you to lead those people who might be, terribly nervous about what the future holds for them. And you can be the one that pulls them all together, where they can meet and exchange referrals and give them the benefit of your new skills. Okay, it's going to be a brave new world, my friends. This is an opportunity for you. I know it's kind of funny. I'm so excited about this opportunity for all of us, because it's kind of a forced reset. It's a force. We've always been doing things the way we've always been doing them, and we've been hoping. We've just worked harder to get more out of our real estate practices. So no, this is a time to work smarter, and this quieter time gives us the opportunity to develop more efficiency in our practice. Let's take that opportunity. This gives us the chance to examine what our normal business activities are and upgrade it. Ask yourself for each task, can I do this virtually? Can I do this better? Can I do this in a cost-saving or a time-saving way? This is such a great opportunity for us to revamp what we do and how we do it. You are always going to have your amazing sales skills. You are always going to have the ability to create trust relationships with your clients, and they are always going to need you to be belly button to belly button with them eventually. But right now, this is an opportunity for us to step up our game and figure out how we can help our friends, our clients, our affiliates, and our referral agents to do business in a better, stronger way. I think that might be all I have to say on the topic. Do you have any questions? I'm glad to answer any questions for you at this time. Lee, do we have any questions coming in?
We don't have any off the top. If people want to type things in, we'll answer them. Just in listening to you, I always have questions for you, Tracey. So when you're doing all of this, where would you say, if people are trying to put new systems in place for themselves, and they say, before the end of April, what would be the one thing you would recommend to them that they do?
There's just so many.
You know what? That's so intimidating for a lot of people. Yes. There's so many things to do. What's the one thing you would say to do to start?
I would say it always, for me, comes down to my goals and my calendars. Yes, we are going to have to revamp our goals for the remainder of 2020, and we're going to have to do it in uncertainty. But the truth is that every year in November, October, when you do your business planning, either with me through the Campus 21, or when you sit down with your broker owner, you're having to look into the unknown, the whole new next year, and decide what you want to do as far as production is concerned, what you want to do as far as your social media, your goals, your income goals, that sort of thing. I say go back to doing that. I say go right back to basics, have a look at your business plan, alter it for what you think you're going to do for the remainder of the year. We still have 8 months of this year. We have 8 months left, 7.5 months left of this year. That's
The
still
longest year ever.
I know, we got lots of time. Don't worry, we got lots of time. And then what I would do is once I have set my goals, I would create a schedule that was going to help me achieve those goals. I would make sure that prospecting time, no matter how you do it, whether it is by calling, texting, you know, we had some great advice from all the other speakers for this past 3 weeks during the Relentless program on how to communicate with your clients. I would be doing that. I would make sure that I set a schedule to do my prospecting, because this is going to turn around. And when it does, you don't want to start your prospecting then. You want to start it now.
Rohit asks, what advice would you give to new realtors? Is it any different than the advice you just gave?
No, in truth, it's even more important for new realtors. You can, at least old dogs like myself, we have some history to be confident about. New realtors might be a little nervous because they don't know, you know, they don't know for sure how things are going to turn out. But I will share a little story with you if I can. I started my real estate career in 1994, and the interest rates were still pretty high. There was a great recession that happened in the early 90s, and I was part of that, although I didn't know any better. I was a new realtor and I didn't know any better. So I just did what my broker told me to do. And that's the advice I would give you right now. Do what your broker tells you to do. Do what you're learning on this amazing Relentless program. You know, do your prospecting, your steps day by day. Don't listen to the naysayers out there, the negative news or the negative, like, oh my goodness, everything's going to crash, because it's just not true. History is going to bear us out that we are going to come back, and we are going to come back stronger. So day by day, do your little tasks that are going to get you forward in the business.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Just seeing if we have one last. Everyone says onwards from here. So thank you very much, Tracey. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
This is wonderful as always. Great advice. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day. We're talking social media tomorrow, everyone, with Chelsea Pites. She is a social media expert, particularly when it comes to Instagram. So if that's an area of your business that you thought that you need to work on a little bit, this is a great webinar for you. If you're just looking for some social media tips in general, she will also be able to help with that. So please join us tomorrow, Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. We look forward to seeing you then. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.